I'm on my way to work, and I decided to record this just so that I could have a little bit of stream of consciousness as I'm driving. I sometimes do some of my best thinking while I'm on the road. I also want to say that I always put safety first, keep my eyes on the road, drive, pay attention to the traffic around me. Fortunately, there's not a lot of traffic around me today, which is nice. I'm really thinking about my upcoming game, my Doctor Who role-playing game campaign. And this coming Saturday, Saturday the 29th of March 2025 is going to be the day that I celebrate 40 years of an ongoing campaign of Doctor Who role-playing games. That's a lot of games. And it's been a wonderful and amazing journey full of friends and great moments and moments that have made me laugh. The actual anniversary is the 1st of April 2025. The best that I could tell when we were recreating the very early days of the game 30 plus years ago was that we had started playing around April 1st. So we made April 1st, April Fool's Day, the official anniversary day, the first day of the game. I think that's pretty close to accurate of when the game was actually released. It was released right near the end of my junior year in high school. And my friends and I went and got the game right on release day, or as soon as we could, and we started playing it. Actually, we bought it at Napoleon's and then immediately started playing the game. That day we went home, we made characters. It was me, David Hewitt, and Paul Vanook, who made the first set of characters, and kind of really had fun with what we were doing, which was pretty awesome. That was game one. It was a game called Time Trap, and I revisited that concept a number of times, and will likely do so again for our anniversary, just because it's sort of the classic game, even though I don't use that plot very often now. When we get to this Saturday, we will be playing game 5,000. So we will have played 5,000 modules in that campaign. And I've kind of arranged it that way. I knew 5,000 was coming. I kind of stretched out the number of games in the last year. As I record at the beginning of this week, we're currently at module 4,996. I played that last night with my friend Eric. And we have a couple more that'll happen this week, so that when we get to Saturday, we'll be right on the anniversary game of number 5,000, which is actually pretty cool. Very happy about that. The game has been amazing, and what's allowed that game to last so long? I honestly think the fact that I shouldn't say I, but as the campaign master, the person who organizes all of the different adventures and keeps the whole history of this game in place. Instead of calling it a dungeon master or game master, we call that person a campaign master, so the person who oversees the whole game. One of the things that I did very early on, even within the first 10 adventures, was we allowed other people to run adventure modules as the game master within the system itself, and then counting those adventures. Doctor Who, the TV show itself, had a lot of different writers, and that gives for a huge variety of ideas and interesting adventures and a different feeling to some of the stories. The same is true for a role-playing game campaign. I would totally recommend that people who want a long ongoing campaign, that they allow others to game master within that system. And I've had some great other game masters in that system. People who are notable that I think about are Dave Hewitt, who ran a number of games. Of course, he was at the first game. Very early on, some of my friends in our friend group called the Dubbers got involved in the game. And I think the person at this point who's run the most games other than myself in the system is Bob Kometz, sometimes called Rob Kometz. He was very active. Al Sumner Jr., very active in running games. Elizabeth Donahue, who got married and became Elizabeth Shea, also known as Libby Shea, she has run a large number of games within the system. And there are many other players. I can think of some, who've run games recently. Jenna Hull has run a number of games. There have been other people and players who've taken their turn to run adventures. Matt Lininger ran some great adventures. Lots of great players. Too many for me to list, and I'd have to go to my records. The other thing about the game that I think has been so great is that very on, I started keeping records of this campaign. And that is one of the things that really helped its lore last and allowed it to be a thing. And I really have to say that early record keeping was key to this. I didn't actually start keeping records of the game till around module 30 or 40. At that point, the oral history was very strong. We would always talk about the games, and right when we got around game 30, we started disagreeing or maybe misremembering some details of the game. So I had to sit down with the players and do the best I could to recreate the list of the first about 30 adventures, maybe 40 adventures. And we did it as good as we could. We put it together and tried to remember it. And, the exact order of those games wasn't too important. The very early ones we remembered exactly correct, of course. And, of course, the ones closest to what we played, there was a little variation in the middle. But, honestly, the exact order of those games didn't matter. It just mattered that we played those. Later, as our plots and games became more important and more complex, and we started having story arcs and things like that, which still happened pretty early, but not as early as the first 40 games, the records that we kept would become more important, because when you have a story arc, you need to make sure that you don't get things wrong in the story arc. And the order, of course, matters to a story arc. But it's been amazing. The game's called the DDWRPG, which now stands for the Diversified Doctor Who Role-Playing Game. Diversified because of the number of groups that play it. When we first added the D to it, it stood for the Dubber Doctor Who Role-Playing Game, because my close friend group, the Dubbers from high school and early college, were the ones who really played the majority of the games. Once I got to college, and a lot of us went to different schools, we still got together and played games, but then other priorities, going out on dates with girls, or guys maybe in some cases, was a priority. And, we didn't always meet, but we found groups to play with. And I know that Bob Kometz found a group of friends that he made at UW-Madison where they played large number of games, and we counted those in this campaign. And I had friends at UW-Milwaukee, and we would go and meet friends at other colleges and play games. And we would always play games at conventions too. So another thing about the campaign is when I play a game at a Doctor Who or a gaming convention, I count that campaign as part of the greater adventure module and story that counts towards this grand campaign, because those stories can exist within the campaign, because the campaign is really about all of the ongoings that happen within this universe. One thing that we've done is we, of course, set our game in the Doctor Who universe. So if something happens on the TV show, if something happens in the TV show Doctor Who, such as Gallifrey being destroyed in a time war, that happens within our universe of the DDWRPG campaign. Because we fit things into the Doctor Who universe, we play within that universe, which is really wonderful. That means that other writers and other people have an effect on how things go. We need to make things work. We do that as best as we can. Sometimes you have to retcon some things, but for the most part, things go really well. I hope these memories have been good. I'm glad that I was able to get some of these down on video just so I could think through it a little bit. I will try to organize and then edit this video to maybe make it a thing. But I'm glad you guys are here with me.